Oh, hi, everybody. My name is Matt Storrs, and welcome to Mattsplaining. On today's episode, I have an expert on who I'm very excited to speak with. Expert, please introduce yourself and tell us what you're an expert in.
Hi, my name is Chris Calagero. I'm a comedian and actor, and I am an expert in the art of sandwiches.
Absolutely fantastic. I know quite a bit about sandwiches. Ever since I was a little kid, everybody learns about the Earl of Sandwich.
Hmm.
That's the person that came up with the sandwich. But just like so much of our culture, that is to some degree appropriated from even more ancient cultures. So we have evidence going back to Pompeii of street food in Pompeii. And one of the things is a lot of people think of actually, I'll ask you a question if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, no,
Yeah, Chris, would you say that a hamburger is a maybe like an iconic American food?
I would say a hamburger is an iconic American food. I was going to say something about your Pompeii reference, though. And I could be mistaken, and the people on Reddit can correct me. I believe that in Pompeii they found a sandwich memorialized from the volcanic explosion. So just
That's exactly right. And
yeah,
many people have tried to repurpose those sandwiches, those breads that they made. And but the hamburger itself, we think it's a modern convention. It was actually an ancient Roman street food that was very commonly sold, mixed in with spices. Those good kind of spiced patties that your mom might make and being like, "Oh, we have a better hamburger at home."
yeah,
And
yeah. Those great
that
Roman spices.
Exactly. Those Roman spices prior to tomato sauce or tomatoes in any capacity, really. And you get so maybe some oregano and some basil in there. I don't know what they had back then.
Oh yeah, your classic your classic Italian stuff. Like, basil, cooking in a little bit of
Eh,
olive oil. Yeah.
You got everything. And then what a lot of people don't know is that in Pompeii, they did have the pyroclastic flow that covered everything and turned human brains to glass in some instances. But a lot of people don't recognize that the soil was really good. So what they would do is they would mix in the soil, the volcanic ash and soil into some of the breads that they made. And that's the thing that really differentiated that bread from some of the bread of the neighboring towns of Herculaneum or Cyprus or any of these other
Right.
places.
Right. There's
Because
actually there's a place in LA that puts a little bit of volcano ash in their bread.
See, exactly. And that's the magic of how the culinary world works is that we take these old ideas and we make them new again. And well, LA, I did see a documentary film about how Tommy Lee Jones could potentially save LA from a volcano. I don't think that they have too much to
Are,
worry about in
are you
terms of
talking
volcano.
about the film Volcano? The Coast
I
is Toast?
Yes, the coast is toast, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I don't think they necessarily have too much to worry about, but the fact that we can use these ancient cooking techniques is really, really something special. And then with the sandwich itself, the people get overwhelmed with the choices that you can put into a sandwich. You have the idea of bread. You have a top and a bottom. But now in today's society, we could have anything could be bread. We can have pieces of chicken be your bread. We could have
Fried
lettuce.
chicken's the bread. Yes,
Yes,
absolutely.
exactly. You can have lettuce. And so it's like this
I'm gonna
postmodern.
stop you real
Okay.
for 1 second
Hmm.
and call it. I find it a little bit of blasphemy to say that the lettuce can be the bread, because that is to me a lettuce wrap, and
Okay.
that's something a little adjacent to what we're talking about.
Okay, I can see that, but maybe some pieces something stiffer, like some kale, something that really can more bind it together.
Right,
Um,
unmassaged kale.
exactly. On massage kale, like real stiff dinosaur kale.
Yeah,
And
kale before it goes to the spa. What I'm talking about?
exactly. And you put these things into a sandwich, and people have this postmodern concept of what a sandwich could be. It can be built from the ground up, changing the the makeup, whether or not there's cheese in it, whether or not there's a sauce in there, whether or not
Sure,
there's
sure.
every single thing, every component can be shifted around. And that's why I think the sandwich is the ultimate food because you
I
can
agree.
you can you can go to anybody's fridge and maybe you do need to buy some bread or you need a couple small things, but you can make so many meals based on just a few components that you can mix around and you can store for a fairly long time. And I
Yeah.
think that that is just like they say, oh, people will joke that the greatest thing since sliced bread, but sliced bread truly made it so that we could make sandwiches at any time. We didn't have to go to our deli. We could take the ideas from our deli and how good those were, but we could bring them and put it in the home.
Yeah, the deli is like a jumping off point for a true sandwich aficionado to me. But I do recommend if you're staying at a friend's house, just go in their fridge and see if you can make a sandwich.
Absolutely, and offer them some.
Yeah.
The number of friendships that I have helped facilitate and grow based on me being like, "Hey, you had some fig jam in here, and I thought I would make a sandwich," and they're like, "Oh, I'll never use that fig jam." They're like, "Oh my
Oh,
God, you did amazing! You did something amazing with those figs."
what did you do with the fig jam, if you don't
Uh,
mind me asking? Like,
absolutely.
what sandwich did you make?
So my go-to with figs is and it is dependent upon what else is in there, but
Absolutely.
you get a little bit, you want something salty, so some pork in there, and you get the like a goat cheese
I
and
was hoping that my man Matt Storrs would say goat cheese because goat cheese and fig jam, that is a beautiful thing.
truly a beautiful thing. And now, before we go any further, Chris, how much of that would you say was accurate?
Oh, I would say maybe like 45% accurate.
Okay, fantastic. Good deal.
Yeah. I would
Yeah,
say like you got like two tomato slices out of five.
two tomato slices out of five. I'll take it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me everything about sandwiches. I would love to learn more.
So I feel like you attack sandwiches from a very historical context, and I really appreciated that. Though I found it mildly disconcerting that the hamburger even kind of entered the equation. And I know it's a little bit of an online argument. I mean, is a hot dog a sandwich? A hot dog's
Hmm.
a hot dog, but a burger is a little trickier. It would seem, but a burger and a sandwich, they are not the same thing to me.
Okay.
And I know a lot of restaurants like to save some space on their menu, and they've decided to create a category for their menu called handhelds.
Oh, see,
I don't
that's
know if you
smart.
I don't know if you've seen this, but handhelds then becomes a very big umbrella for things you can eat with your hand. So that sometimes includes burgers, sandwiches, but it also sometimes includes a burrito because a burrito is a handheld food.
Right.
So you start to get into tricky territory. But I will say a burger lives on its own as a burger to me. If I said, "Hey, Matt Stories from the podcast Mattsplaining, would you like to go and get some sandwiches with me
Hmm.
and chit chat and catch up?" And then we went to a burger joint. Would you feel a little weird about that?
Now that you mention it, I kind of would. I think that that would be, I would be a little confused. Yeah.
Right, right. So that's all I'm saying. That's I just wanted to clear up the burger sandwich thing. But I love sandwiches. I like to I attack sandwiches from a first person perspective, not
Okay.
just eating, but in terms of talking about them. I have a lot of opinions about sandwiches and a lot of ideals for my sandwiches. And a lot of it you mentioned the bread, and I feel like the basis for any good sandwich is the bread. I mean, you got to have that bread, baby. You got to have the good stuff. And you got to have the good stuff that if you get a hot sandwich, that hot sauce or whatever you have on there, maybe you got you got a chicken parm or something, is not going to soak all the way through the bread and ruin it, make it too soggy. But I do have one exception for this rule.
Okay.
And there is a place based in Chicago called Portillo's,
Hmm.
and they do an Italian beef sandwich, which is a thing I didn't grow up with, but I now know about, and it's made me sad that I lost so many years not knowing about it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But now that you can get wet, and I highly recommend getting it wet. That's where they basically cover or dip the entire sandwich in their jus, and it is fall aparty and soggy, but sometimes you gotta go with where the experience takes you.
Absolutely.
And this is part of what they do well. So that sandwich can be as wet as you want, baby. Get it
Absolutely.
wet, get it fall party, get it soggy. That's part of the magic of it.
Oh yeah, one of my it's interesting that you say that. The first well, so it wasn't the first time that I had one of those sandwiches, but they would come with the jus, and I was very much kind of those picky eater type of kids, and
Mm.
I wouldn't dunk it in the jus, and I'd just have it and like give it to friends or like throw it away, God forbid.
Yeah, you're
Um,
like, anybody need some jus? I got an extra, and they're like, and people must have been in the restaurant like, what's this guy doing with
yeah,
this extra?
what is yeah, what is he doing? And so finally, I can't remember, it was like somebody's older brother or something like that, or their dad was like, "Hey, for this kid, just drench it." And that was like, I got it and I was like, oh, it's all soggy. And I'm like, oh, I must have messed it up or something, but I want to be polite. I'm going to eat it. And I ate it and I'm like, oh my God, what have I been doing?
Oh
I,
my God.
yeah,
Yeah, dude.
it's amazing.
Was it it's like a character in a movie doing like LSD for the first time, right? Like
Truly just changed.
your pupils dilate.
Yeah.
You're seeing things. What a this is a friend's dad did this or your dad?
I think it was a friend's dad. I was very young when it happened, so I think I remember it being out with like friends, like in my elementary school or middle school or something like that. And I would presume it was one of their like whoever was chaperoning us.
Wow, what a life-changing moment. What a thing to be thankful for somebody. I mean, it's a chance, especially like with a kid, they're very picky about their food and a lot of times a kid if it's something is that off might say, "Oh God, this is ruined and I don't want
Right.
this."
Right. Well, and I think that there's a calculated risk there as well because they're like, if he says he doesn't like it, we'll get him a normal one. But like, I'll eat this sandwich. I'll eat his sandwich. I'll trade
Right,
him.
right. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, man, what a great gamble. What a life changer. But yeah, I have a lot of so then you have the great bread. A thing that I have come to know recently about some sandwich construction is I do like avocado on some sandwich, especially
Okay.
a turkey sandwich, right? I
Hmm.
think turkey and avocado goes really well together. But I feel like when people first, and this still happens, and it makes me a little crazy, putting avocado on sandwiches, they just slice it
Hmm.
and they put it on there. And I think that's such a crucial misstep in sandwich construction
Totally.
because it gets way too slidey
Yes,
and
and
fall
if
aparty and everything starts shifting all over the place.
absolutely, I think that people get worried that that it's going to be construed as them making guacamole if they chop it up or like smush it together a little
Yeah,
bit.
I want to be like, baby, there's so many more steps to the guac that
So much more that you got to add to it, but like running it, chopping it up, and making it so it's not gonna make the sandwich fall apart or make. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm all on board with you.
Yeah, so you got to basically have to smear it like a spread.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that the sandwich now no longer needs a sauce or a condiment because to me I think every sandwich has to have a condiment or something on it that gives a little wetness or a little moisture.
Hmm.
I think some people obviously they're gonna eat their sandwiches dry, but you got an Italian sub, that's oil and vinegar. You got turkey sandwich, that's tomato. You got Reuben, and you got mustard. I mean, I feel like the avocado can't take the place of a true condiment. It's just a nice addition.
Some extra moisture, some extra protein, some extra fat, but you still need something that like rounds it out and binds everything together.
Absolutely, and I think the best sandwich places know all these things and can somehow make you a sandwich that is bigger than a sandwich that you can ever make for yourself at home that doesn't fall apart in your hands, that doesn't have things sliding in and out of it. Tomatoes can sometimes do this too. And I feel like with a tomato, I think that it should go on the bottom of the sandwich. That's a little hack I have. I think it keeps it a little steadier.
Yeah, I could see that because it has the weight of
Right.
everything on top of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think sometimes you pile stuff high, and don't get me wrong, it looks beautiful. It looks very Doonesbury, but I think it's a sometimes you want to pile stuff on top, but sometimes you gotta spread it out a little bit. And I also am a very big cheese on the bottom of the bread guy.
Okay, what is your typical go-to cheese?
I love American cheese, baby. I think
Okay.
I think American cheese is super underrated.
Hmm.
People trash it, and I know it's not a charcuterie cheese. So pardon me over here for
Hmm.
enjoying something that doesn't go on a charcuterie board. But I think, and Swiss is a good melter too, but the melt you get on American cheese This also goes for my burgers. The melt you get in American cheese to me and the salty goodness that it creates for your sandwich adds a whole new layer.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean that's I'm an American cheese on most of my sandwiches, especially my breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, I think it's quintessential in a breakfast sandwich.
Right, it's absolutely necessary, especially if you're from Jersey and you're getting a Taylor ham, egg and cheese, Taylor ham and American cheese. That is from heaven sent, in my opinion.
Absolutely. If you were to say like your ideal sandwich or like your ideal sandwich construction, well, what's on that sandwich?
My favorite sandwich is an Italian sub.
Okay.
That's my favorite. So you get I want an Italian roll, like Italian bread, even like ideally, honestly, like cut from a larger piece of Italian bread. So you do the whole roll and then you cut what you need off of that. And then I'm looking at like ham, gabagool, mortadella, prosciutto, and I want a lettuce, shredded lettuce,
Hmm.
onion, tomato, hot peppers, banana peppers, oil and vinegar.
That's a good sandwich.
I mean, I think the Italian sub to me is a perfect sandwich.
Yeah. I mean, it hits everything, I feel like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, salty. You get the salty goodness. You get the tang of the oil and vinegar, and you get the crunchiness with the lettuce, onion, tomato. Oh, and also salt and pepper on top of that too. And
Absolutely.
honestly, a little Italian seasoning doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, it worked for the ancient Romans. I don't see why it wouldn't help us now.
Right, right. They had it nailed, and I do want to. I think my time here is coming to an end, but I do want to shout out my favorite sandwich place in Brooklyn, Defonte's.
Okay.
If you haven't been to Defonte's, go there, get a sandwich. My favorite sandwich there is actually the Golden Boy Special,
Okay.
which is a chicken cutlet sandwich with vodka sauce on it.
Oh, wow, that does sound good.
Yeah, really, really good.
Fantastic. Chris, this has been so fascinating and so insightful. If people wanted to learn more about sandwiches or more about you, where would you recommend that they go?
Well, if you want to learn more about sandwiches, go find your local sandwich shop and get everything on the menu, or DM me on all my social media handles, which is at Real Chris Cal. That's where you can find me and my sandwich opinions, and also where you can find links to pre-order my first comedy album, which is coming out August 29th, called Husky Boy.
Fantastic. I can't thank you enough, Chris. This has been wonderful.
Thanks, Matt.
Fantastic. My name is Matt Storrs, and this has been Mattsplaining. Before we go today, I want to thank Ryan Lawson, my dear friend, for making the theme music for Mattsplaining. Ryan can be reached at beatblenderstudios@gmail.com or at Beat Blender Studios on Instagram and TikTok.